I was going to wait for Amy to get back, but hey, we've got to get used to it sometime, don't we? Good morning. I'm Barbara Saxton, and I will be your worship associate today. My pronouns are she, her, and you are very welcome to join us here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Palo Alto. We gather our different paths entwined to deepen our spiritual lives, nourishing connection, learning from each other, caring for each other, tending to our world. If you are sitting with some seats that are empty next to you, please scooch over or allow people that need a place to sit to be. We're probably going to have a fairly full house today. I ask you to join me in acknowledgement of the people whose land that we gather on. We are on unceded, stolen land of the Tamien and Ramaytush people. We acknowledge these communities, their elders, both past and present, and their future generations. And we thank the past, present, and future generations of these tribes for their stewardship of the land where we now sit. As we join together in the name of creating a community that is caring, wise, sustainable, justice-seeking, and dedicated to transforming the world for the better, let us remember that to do so, we must join the work of dismantling the ongoing legacies of settler colonialism. We were not the people who took this land, but neither do we wish to create a community at the expense of any other. So we begin with awareness and gratitude and pledge to join the Tamien and Ramaytush people whenever they ask us for solidarity. Masks are not required in the main hall, but they are strongly encouraged. We express our mutual respect by supporting each other's decisions about masking, distancing, and other health measures. Our justice partner for the month is Peninsula Food Runners. Today's offering will be donated to this group. At this point, I'd like to welcome Maria Yap, who joins us to highlight the mission and worthwhile community work at Peninsula Food Runners. She'll also be present after the service to answer any questions you might have about the organization or how you might volunteer to help. Maria, can you come up now, please? Feel free to adjust the mic if you need to.
Thank you. Greetings to all, and it's so great to be in fellowship and to have this opportunity to come and share with you this morning what has transpired since I last spoke. For those of you who may have been here last year, my name is Maria Yap, and I'm an executive director and a founder of Peninsula Food Runners. Peninsula Food Runners' mission is to reduce food insecurity and food waste in our communities. We do so by engaging community volunteers like yourself to join us in our mission to relay good, edible surplus food from donors to our community recipients to feed the clients in need. Our donors are grocery stores, tech companies, wholesalers, restaurants, and catering companies. Our recipients, our partners are like Sunnyvale Community Services, Alta Housing that manages over 30 HUD and 100% affordable housing properties here in Palo Alto, Live Moves, who manages over 11 facilities, downtown street teams, so it's quite a few different ones that we service throughout the year. In 2024, Peninsula Food Runners delivered over 1.5 million meals to the community. Today, we're only in the middle of June, and we've already surpassed that number. We are presently at 1.9 million meals, diverting 2.3 million pounds of food from the landfill. We're only able to do this with the help of dedicated volunteers who understand the simple act of kindness of picking up food that is available, that's out there, and delivering it to people in need. And it can make such an impact over a period of time. Cal, a member of this church, has committed himself every Friday, you guys, to pick up from our donors Waymo and LinkedIn to service Hope's Corner so that they can feed families and individuals who show up on Saturday morning for a hot meal. He has serviced East Palo Alto Senior Center, Project We Hope, St. Anthony's Padway, Sunnyvale Community Services, and many more. He's already surpassed his numbers that he had delivered in 2024. Today, he's already delivered 8,300 meals. So I'm so grateful to Cal for his service, for his heart and his hand in doing this. I also want to take this opportunity to thank Jack Owiki, who's also a member of your church, for his photography services that he generously donated and came to our first ever fundraising event last year. And the pictures came out absolutely beautiful, Jack, wherever you are. And thank you for your generous gift of memories. One more gratitude. I would like to thank you so much for your gift of your financial support to Peninsula Food Runners in 2024. And you will see the product of it. We have an apron with Peninsula Food Runners that all our volunteers get, along with an insulated bag when they do pick up food. So thank you so much. Once again, please join us with Peninsula Food Runners. Help us feed those who are in need, stop the waste that's going on in our communities, and keep our precious air cleaner for this beautiful world that we live in. Thank you.
Wow. Okay. If you are here in person, which you all are, and you have questions about Unitarian Universalism or the congregation, stop by the welcome table with a blue tablecloth and chat with a friendly member of our membership team. You can leave your contact information if you want to receive notification of upcoming events, and if this is the week you want to join the congregation, you can also do that there today. Now, I have a couple more announcements. There will be second Sunday lunch at the conclusion of this service, and if you could be so kind as to let worship associates, I will be one of them, so I'll try to point them out to you, get in line first. We have a meeting with Amy and a training at 12 p.m., so we're hoping to eat and talk and run to that. And I also would like to welcome Gloria Geller to the podium because she has an important announcement also.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gloria Geller, part of the RE Discernment Task Force. And last Sunday, our congregation voted yes to call Reverend Cat to continue as our religious education minister.
Can we stop and clap about that?
Oh, you get to clap again. She accepted. There will be a celebration planned, but for now, I thought we could all say together, welcome, Reverend Cat. Ready? Welcome, Reverend Cat.
Thank you. No, Aaron, let us begin our service. Just say that.
Oh, yeah. But don't we start for chapels first?
No, pray.
Okay, then. Having a little meeting about this. Now, let us begin our service. Those of you listening in at home, if you have a chalice with you, please light it along with Amy and me. I light this chalice, remembering words written by Laura Esquivel in her novel Like Water for Chocolate. My grandmother had a very interesting theory. She said that each of us is born with a box of matches inside us. But we can't strike them all by ourselves. We need oxygen and a candle to help.
With our centering words each week, we draw on the many sources of our living tradition. Today's words are from the poem Natural Resources by 20th century U.S. American poet Adrienne Rich. I have to cast my lot with those who age after age, perversely, with no extraordinary power, reconstitute the world. A passion to make and make again, where unmaking reigns. As we follow the sound of the bell into silence, we allow ourselves to arrive here fully.
Good morning. If you are young or young at heart, I invite you to come up on our colorful quilt and listen to our story. When Reverend Amy told me today about the topic, I was trying to think of what really brings sweetness to my life. And one thing that came to my mind is the animals in our world. That includes, the cats and the dogs. So I wonder does anybody here have a dog at home? Oh, excellent. Does anybody have a cat at home? Oh. Does anybody have an anaconda? Oh, okay, no anacondas. But I wonder if y'all could help me. What sound does a dog make? Oh, excellent. It's a pound in here. So in this story, we're going to find out, according to the Din people, the Navajo people, the story of the first dog. And in the story, when I say bark or barking, can you make your dog sound? Let's practice. Bark. Excellent. All right. So this is the story of the first dog. The Din were the first people on Earth to have a dog. However, it had a habit of barking. Early in the morning, all afternoon, all night. But, so the people, they started to dislike this dog because of the noisy barking. And they talked about the dog, and they wondered what they should do about him. What should we do about all this barking? And they said, I think it's best to send him away. Well, the dog, he heard what they were saying, and he got very sad. So, to not be sent away, he decided he would not do any more barking. None of that. Early the next morning, the people from the west approached, and the dog, he saw them, and he opened his mouth, but he didn't make a sound. He was afraid that his masters would send him away. The people were angry with him. When they came back and they found out that the people had come from the west, the people said to the dog, "Why didn't you bark? Why didn't you do that? You normally make a sound when people are coming, but you made no sound." And the dog, he replied, You said that you were going to send me away if I did too much barking. I began to worry. You can, of course, do as you like. You can send me away. But remember, I see everything from east, south, west, and north. I see everything that you are afraid of. And I warn you when those things are coming. So you can do as you will, but see how it ends up for you. So, considering this, the people decided to have a conversation. And they said, let's keep him as a pet. The dogs, they see through the clouds, they see through the sky, they see everywhere. They see even on the darkest of nights. And they help protect us from dangerous things. And so, after this, the people began to perform ceremonies for their dogs and to raise them as pets. And in response to this, all the dogs started barking. Now, the dog ceremony that these people performed, it has been lost to time. But we still have dogs, and they're still our loyal pets, our friends. And they were the friends and the pets of all the people in the world. They're very helpful. They can herd sheep. They can bark. And we should treat them as well as we treat each other because of their love and loyalty. Thank you for listening to my story this morning. We will meet outside in the lobby after the song if you are coming to Summer Sunday School. And we will be back. Summer Sunday School will be back to participate in the chocolate communion. So, fear not. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure after all that barking, you're ready to sing, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am. We're going to sing Spirit of Life, which is in the gray hymnal. And the words are on screen, and in the order of service, it's on page 123 if you're looking at it in the hymnal.
Blessed be. Let's sing again together. Number 308 in your gray hymnal, and the words, as always, are on screen, and in the order of service, it's the blessing of the earth and sky. Number 308.
chocolate. Concocted from beans that grow in large colorful pods of the cacao tree, has been a human comestible for over 3,500 years. It has also served as a form of currency, a ceremonial device, and an ingredient in some medicines, not to mention making fortunes for candy makers like Hershey's, Dove, Mars, etc. Wikipedia features tales of native people dancing the cocoa, shuffling around barefoot on floors spread with cacao beans to keep them from sticking together in the process of drying. Next time you bite into a seized truffle, think of all those dancing feet. For me, however, this chocolate, this gift of the gods, became the Antichrist. Why? Simply put, around the time I entered puberty, I developed a horrible case of acne. Vulgaris is the medical term for this skin affliction, and the name fits. When the skin pores clog, especially on the face, chest, and shoulders, the blockage and resultant bacteria produces disgusting-looking blackheads, whiteheads, and pus-filled pimples. This is not your ordinary reflection, okay? Okay, we've gotten over that now. Not a gift from the gods by any means for those beginning to explore the dating world. One of my older sisters had also developed acne. At that time, the remedy involved sitting under a strong sun lamp for hours every day. Luckily, by the time my case started, that method had gone out of favor, saving me from the lesions and luckily benign skin cancers that my sister developed later in life. When my face erupted and pimples quickly multiplied, my mother marched me off to the dermatologist. My father objected to the cost of treating something I would just grow out of, but for once she stood up to him, reminding him that keeping me as good-looking as possible would contribute to my eventual marriage prospects. By the way, I asked my husband the other day, did you marry me because of my flawless skin? And he said, is this one of those questions that doesn't have a right answer? Like, does this dress make me look fat? Anyway, the treatment went on for about 4 years. And during that era, I visited the dermatologist every 2 weeks for dermabrasion. That is, planing any acne-scarred skin and expertly popping any blackheads or pimples the doctor could find. Other than proctology, I can think of a few more disgusting professions, but I guess everybody needs to make a living. Every day, I scrubbed the affected areas morning and night with a special liquid soap. Each night, I also applied a thick hydrochloric bleach lotion that dried out my skin while I slept. During the day, I smoothed on a lighter lotion that continued the drying process and also masked acne scars and redness. My facial skin lived in a state of desiccation and redness and peeling, like a constant sunburn victim. Morning and night, I swallowed pills containing a low level of tetracycline. These routines were far from pleasant, but I accepted them as a necessary price to pay for the physical beauty everyone seemed to think that I needed to succeed in life. On top of the medicinal stuff, this is where it relates to the sermon theme, by the way, there were dietary changes galore. I had to completely give up many staple teen foods, French fries, peanuts and nut butters, chips, onion rings, greasy grilled cheese and burgers, cola drinks, and of course, anything containing chocolate. Although I eventually outgrew acne outbreaks, the notion of those foods being harmful or verboten never really left me. Even now, when I look at a chocolate bar, all I envision is one angry, enormous zit. I sometimes borrow one French fry from my husband's plate, or I take a few chips from a fellow hiker's stash, smiling mysteriously when asked how I still have the willpower to do it. I abstain from Coke or Pepsi in any form. I don't drink alcoholic beverages at all either, but that's the subject of another reflection. As childhood prejudices and restrictions carried into adulthood go, I guess the chocolate aversion is pretty insignificant, perhaps even beneficial. I have to wonder, however, how many other habits or ingrained biases or aversions I developed while growing up in a predominantly white, middle-class neighborhood in Cleveland Heights, Ohio, and which now prevent me from being more tolerant of and generous to other people. I've spent the last 60 years of my life trying to work on that one, and although I've made some progress, there's always more to be done. But forcing myself to eat certain forbidden foods, even if they no longer pose problems for my otherwise unclogged pores, that's a gift of the gods that I can readily avoid. I think I'm still on here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to sit down.
Can I have the mic back on? Okay. Good morning. I have a confession to make. The choir anthem this morning was never going to be Pure Imagination. That was just a nod to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The choir knew that we wanted to take this Sunday, Amy's last sermon Sunday, to express how much we love you and how much you're going to be missed.
Hope you enjoyed that, Amy. Were you surprised? Sure you were. Okay. The reading today is a poem by Stephen Dunn, who we unfortunately lost too soon in 2021, one of my favorite poets, and it's called Sweetness. Just when it has seemed that I couldn't bear one more friend waking with a tumor or one more maniac with a perfect reason, often a sweetness has come and changed nothing in the world except the way I stumbled through it, for a while lost in the ignorance of loving. Someone or something, the world shrunk to mouth size, hand size, and never seeming small. I acknowledge that there is no sweetness that doesn't leave a stain, no sweetness that's ever sufficiently sweet. Tonight a friend called to say his lover was killed in a car. He was driving. His voice was low and guttural. He repeated what he needed to repeat, and I repeated the one or two words we have for such grief until we were speaking only in tones. Often a sweetness comes, as if on loan, stays just long enough to make sense of what it means to be alive, then returns to its dark source. As for me, I don't care where it's been or what bitter road it's traveled to come so far, to taste so good.
Before I start, I need to say just a couple of things. One, I understand Jane Cronus wrote the new words to that song. Author. And speaking of amazing talent, when Barbara and I were going over the order of service and putting things together, she saw that only one of the composers of Pure Imagination was given, and she said it should also say by Anthony Newley. I mean, do not trust this woman. I'm glad I didn't go too far out of my way to fit the sermon in with Pure Imagination. It does fit, but if you know the song, you can make the connection for yourself. In the desert, I want to say one other thing, interrupting myself. There's a lot of lasts this month. Maybe you saw this in the website and our weekly update. If you don't get that yet, go to the welcome table and sign up. It only comes once a week, just like we say. But there's a bunch of lasts. This is the last time I'm leading the service and giving the sermon. I will be here next Sunday for what is completely out of my hands, a service led by the congregation and a send-off party as we say goodbye to each other for a few years. And I will be at UUCPA on the job through June 30th, but I'm not here the following 2 Sundays because of General Assembly and San Francisco Pride, which I know some of you are going to join me as being a part of that the last Sunday of the month. So do take an opportunity to come catch me if you want in my office sometime before the end of the month. In the desert, wandering for 40 years, a generation, the people then known as the Israelites received manna from heaven. It was called manna because they looked at it and said in their native tongue, "Manna, what is this? What is this stuff falling out of the sky and good to eat?" This is what sustained them as they led a nomadic life. It said in some stories about manna that it was sweet. One tradition said, well, that would get boring if it were the same thing every night. I always kind of imagined it like frosted flakes, sweet, flaky stuff falling from the sky. I wouldn't want to study diet of that personally. So one legend said that it could taste like anything you wanted. If you're in the mood for a, Thanksgiving roast turkey dinner with all the trimmings, then that's what it'll taste like. In any case, it was more than just sustenance. And so the author of Deuteronomy, where the story of manna is told, reminds us, you don't live only by bread. Something mysterious, but no less real. Something we need for more than just our bodies, more even than our emotions, our thoughts. We live by spirit. What do I mean by spirit? The Greeks used the word psyche, which we turned into psychology. So it means both the soul, the spirit, and the self, who we really are. Some people believe it is like a ghost-like thing that inhabits us and then moves on without this body when this body is done. Some do not, but that we are animated by something amazing that seems to defy language and description. This humanist considers beyond doubt. Later, Again, in the desert, Jesus is tempted to gain power, to satisfy all the suffering, hungry people of the world. Satan says, I'll give you that ability. You can feed everyone. And Jesus quotes Deuteronomy at him. People do not live by bread alone. We need more. We are more. Abraham Maslow came along much later, in the 20th century, to say that we have to meet our needs in a certain order, the very basic ones of food and safety and shelter first, and only then aesthetic and cognitive challenges, and only then a kind of transcendent experience of growing ourselves. And I would like to say that is complete nonsense. I'm glad that this is far from a novel opinion. Lots of people, including in psychology, his field, have said it's not based on any good science, and it's just contradicted by our experience all the time, including in a sort of cultural sense, that wealthy, comfortable, quote unquote, first world societies where the majority of people do have their basic needs met are not happier than poorer ones, quite the contrary. Not to romanticize poverty or anything, but here's a couple of examples from somebody who said they once ranted about Maslow, their words, to a colleague of mine. This author says, I don't know their name, just the website. I ranted about Maslow to a colleague of mine, a refugee theater director and choreographer from Iraq. He agreed with me completely. He told me about a tiny theater group he had in Baghdad. They met once per week in a deserted basement, completely empty with bare gray concrete floor. It was dangerous to even travel there due to the war, yet they still met. They recited plays together when there were no performances to be had. This gave them purpose and meaning when chaos reigned around them. This author continues, I have heard similar sentiments from the mother of one of my classmates who comes from Russia. We had nothing, she said. But if someone came to our little town to perform a piano concert, we would all be there in the audience. We were financially poor, but spiritually and artistically rich. Somehow, it seems to be the opposite here. I'm thinking also of a song I just heard for the first time, a Hosier song called Francesca. He's singing about, actually in the voice of, one of the figures in Dante's Inferno. She and her lover are condemned to be eternally suffering because of their illegitimate lust. But it wasn't lust, she says, in Hosier's telling. And far from needing basic safety and well-being before seeking the higher experiences, such as love, she says, if someone asked me again, I'd tell them, put me back in it. I would do it again if I could hold you for a minute, though I know my heart would break. Purpose, meaning, that amazing feeling when the notes of the piano enter your ears and your heart. Love. These are spiritual needs because we're spiritual beings. That very misunderstood word. We lucky, mostly comfortable, mostly very privileged people, we live in a soul-sick society, and nowhere suffers more than Palo Alto for all its beauty and grace, where so much conspires to tell us that we live by bread alone, by money, by physical comfort and safety. They're all good things. And money can buy some of those wonderful experiences, take us to other parts of the world, buy us a concert subscription, build beautiful buildings and renovate them. It's not a bad thing. And yet we still need more than that. I said if it didn't exist, we'd have to invent it. I don't mean chocolate, although that's true. I mean a congregation, a spiritual community. What else does this culture we live in provide specifically for tending our spirits? Our spirits, period. You know, some things, there's lots of other opportunities for spiritual experiences, of course. We don't have them only here, thank goodness. All they're lacking, I think, often is the encouragement to talk with the others about it. The opportunity, the community. That's so important. Go on a hike and feel like you've restored a sense of perspective and equilibrium. You know your place in the great, complex, beautiful whole. And then you come down the path, you know, feeling peaceful and rejuvenated and like you've just had this peak experience, literally and physically, spiritually. And you pass others who are smiling too as they look around at the beauty that you're all sharing, although they're also climbing, so they might be, smiling in a kind of grimacing way as they pant. And what do you say to each other? Lovely morning. This is a great place, isn't it? Or if one of you is feeling very daring, isn't this the most sublime valley? But that's already getting a bit personal, not to mention long for the trail. Or you go to a concert or a museum, a dance performance, a poetry reading, a play. These are all so powerfully transcendent experiences. For many of us, it's how we tend and feed our spirits, that sense of who we are and how we remember who we want to be. It's where we find our purpose and meaning. And then we go home. Can we turn even to the person in the next seat and share where we went? Or do we just murmur to each other, that was magnificent, and get our jackets and go? We need a community. We need to share our spiritual journeys and learn from each other and create our souls together. That's why I assert, if religious communities like UUCPA did not exist, we would have to invent them, or we'd have greatly impoverished lives. What other institutions support our souls and all the things that are put together here? We can join social justice, environmental justice organizations, and many of us do, thank goodness for them. But they won't gather around you when you suffer a heartbreaking loss. We pursue educations and, long past degrees. We keep learning from many, many marvelous organizations in our community, but they don't usually also give us a chance to make music together. We belong to arts organizations, we make our own arts, or receive the beautiful offerings of so many talented artists, but we don't gather together to talk about the big questions. And even organizations like meditation centers, Sunday Assembly, attempts to have something spiritual but not carrying all the baggage that, got to admit, U.S. American religious communities like our usual churches and temples and synagogues and mosques carry. Well, They go on for a while, and then they realize, we need a space for children. Or we need to add a network of care. Because something has evolved that we, in this tradition, call a church, a congregation, that puts all those things together. How marvelous is it that that has evolved? So that others keep converging on this same cluster of purposes, which together add up to the purpose John Keats called soul making. It's like all of these things, shelter and food and intellectual stimulation, emotional well-being, all those very important things that Maslow called, the lower needs, those are bred. And what we seek here and provide to each other and anyone who ventures here is, chocolate. The soul needs its own nourishment. Something that's not about feeding the body or the mind or the feelings exactly. And I think of this very famous story. Probably everybody here has heard it, although my daughter didn't try when I tried it out on her this morning. She's only 18. It's something that comes to my mind so often and is so ingrained in my bones. It's such an ancient and well-known wisdom story that I can't believe I've never shared it here, but I don't think I have. It comes from the Buddhist tradition. That a person was walking along when they suddenly realized they were being stalked by a tiger. They began to run. Bad idea. And as they ran as fast as they could to escape the tiger, they went sailing over the edge of a cliff and only just caught themselves from falling to a certain death by grabbing a hold of a little tree that was growing out of the side of the cliff. And as they dangled there, looked up at the tiger who was roaring, growling from above. And they looked down below at the terrifying drop, and there was also a tiger there, waiting just in case they decided to risk the fall. They looked up at where their hands were holding on to the branch and could see that at the root of this little tree, growing out of the rocky soil, there were two mice, a black one and a white one, nibbling away at its root. My daughter said what she would do at this moment was reach out and pet one of the mice. That would be in the spirit of the wisdom story. But no, the person in the story noticed that also growing out of the cliff, one of the little bits of plants that had gotten a hold of enough soil there, there was a wild strawberry vine, little tiny, so sweet, ripe strawberries on it, and they reached out and they picked one. How sweet it tasted. Dear ones, this life where death is always stalking us, where our bodies suffer, where our minds can be tormented, this difficult life, it is so, so, so sweet. We reach out and taste. We feed our spirits. We taste it not only with our tongues, but with our whole beings, our souls. And the sweetest things that there are to taste are the things of the soul. That sense of purpose and meaning that we know what we are for. Friendship and love. The music beyond the music. That's how we taste the world. How blessed we are to not have to invent an institution that will care for our souls. It's here. We have only to cherish it and bring it to the world. Let us now, with gratitude, support Peninsula Food Runners. We're so glad to be a part of we're so glad to be a part of this interdependent web where people share our values and want to help make this community more loving, feeding our bodies when we're hungry and our souls when we're hungry for meaning and purpose and love. So today, as Barbara explained, our entire gift goes to Peninsula Food Runners. You can use cash or check or the QR code or text information in the order of service. However you do it, please give generously. Thank you for your generosity. Well, we'll be lucky if we get to our worship associate training by 12, but we have to have a little appetizer. At my installation as the minister here, a few months into my time, my colleague and dear friend Dan Schatz, giving the charge to the minister, spoke of self-care, and by way of illustration and nudging me along the path of taking care of myself, he presented with, do you remember, some people were here, an enormous bar of chocolate. I mean, I think it was like 10 pounds. As a result, the most frequent question from UUCPA folks for the next 6 months was, "Finished that chocolate bar yet?" To which I pled the fifth. I don't want anybody to know how fast I can put away chocolate. But you already knew that I loved it from that moment. So when I came across the idea of a chocolate communion a couple of months ago, I knew it had to be part. First of all, I thought, oh my God, why haven't I never done this before? And that it should be a part of our last service, the last service I led. And this version is adapted from a ritual created by Dan Schatz. So it all comes around. Now I want to tell you a couple of things before we start to pass this chocolate, same as we do communion style, offering style. In most of these little cups, there is a small piece of semi-sweet guittared chocolate, and no matter what the color or makeup of the cups, that's the same, so you don't need to look over and pick carefully like you do at flower communion, just pick one. I'm trying to speed things up for y'all, lunch is coming. It is fair trade and made in a completely peanut, tree nut, and gluten-free facility just up the road in Burlingame. It's not made with milk, for those who need to know that, but it is made on equipment shared with milk chocolate. Some of the cups have Sunny Bears. They're like little organic gummy bears for those who can't eat chocolate. If that's you, whether due to an allergy or intense dislike of chocolate, please take one of these cups. If you can enjoy chocolate, please leave the Sunny Bears for those who can't. Also, there are 2 baskets in the lobby. As you go out, you'll see them on the right. One is going to be for the plastic cups, which we're going to wash and reuse, and the other for the paper cups, which are compostable. Excuse me. If you are at home and have some chocolate that you can grab, now's a good time. And as we pass around our baskets of chocolate, please take one, whether you intend to eat it or not. You'll see why. When you take a cup, please don't open it. Please don't take the chocolate out yet or smell it or anything like that. Just leave the chocolate in the cup and simply hold it. And as we pass the chocolate, which I and Eric and Barbara are going to do, let's sing. Stay seated, please, and sing Ubi Caritas, which the words are going to be up on your screen. There we go. It's number 1048, but I don't think we have the tail hymnal. You'll learn it real fast if you don't know it. All right. You just receive it, right? You just take it? You just receive it, or you are passing it?
Oh, you want to pass and I'll
Yeah, you pass and I receive. Because you don't want it going in 2 different directions. So I'll do the. Okay. You just take it you just take the basket when it comes to you.
I should sing something from Willy Wonka.
Okay. Yeah, but don't take this because otherwise people will have 2 things coming. You just when a basket comes to you, pass it behind. I'll show you. You'll see.
Are you Mr. Cat?
No, she'll take it all. No, just go along the right side where Jane is, and when a basket comes to you, give it to the row behind. You see, I just got a crash course in ushering. I finally know how to do this, so I want to do it right. Can you give us the first note there? Ubi caritas. Can you pass it on? Amor. Sure. Ubi caritas. Deus imiens. Ubi caritas et amor. Ubi caritas. Deus more. Still need it? Thank you. I just want to hum. Everybody get chocolate? Want chocolate? Poor Sunny Bear. Will you just play a little something for us, Thomas? Just throwing that at him. Because we don't all quite have our chocolate yet. We good? Did you get something, Nancy? Beautiful. You're a pro. Now, one more thing. Is there anybody who did not get a cup of chocolate? Raise your hand. Okay? As part of sharing the sweetness of life is making sure no one is left out. This chocolate represents the gifts we give each other, the gifts of the Spirit, warmth and support, vulnerability, help when it's needed, a song, forgiveness, friendship, a hug, trust. All of these are ways that we give our love to the world. As you hold your little sweet cup, think of what you might do for the people near you. And now turn to a person next to you and give your chocolate to someone else. If you're holding a Sunny Bear, you need to find somebody else with a Sunny Bear. Please, stand and wave, Sunny Bearers. Is that the only voluntary Sunny Bear? Thank you. We receive our gifts. Those of you at home, if you're with somebody else, then you can trade chocolate with them. If you're by yourself, give yourself the warmth of love. Give yourself the gift of warmth and trust and chocolate. All right? Everybody still got chocolate, right? Or appropriate sweet. Now let's taste the sweetness of the world. Mm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Now that your mouth is full,
Went on, man.
This time it's Lean on Me, and it's in 1021 page in the Teal hymnal, but I would really encourage you to read the lyrics on the screen, because apparently there's something about the ending that doesn't repeat, and you're on your own, Thomas.
We have basked in the warmth and beauty of this flame and this community. As the chalice flame is extinguished, let us carry its glow within. Let us kindle new sparks within these walls and beyond. You go sing? Yeah, you go ahead. Thank you. Everyone, whether you're online or in the main hall, let's signal how we're by holding hands or some other way that we are connected. And yes, please rise and we will say our benediction together. Go out into the world in peace. Be of good courage. Hold fast to what is good. Return no one evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Rejoice in beauty. Speak love with word and deed. Honor all beings. Amen. Now you can have lunch.